This is cherry, and what I loved about it, of course, the beautiful arch that it makes, and then at the end, the foot was already there, so I didn't have to do another thing, so that was good. That's what inspired me to do this figure. I've been sculpting, I don't know, for the last 50 years. It is my life, it is my calling. So this is walnut, American black walnut, which is a very beautiful, noble American carving wood. So I outlined the figure in the heartwood with a liner tool, and right now I'm just trying to find the form. And I am so honored to be here at the Manship Residency. You know, Manship, he really thought about, you know, the entertaining, and those pedestals they did hold his work, and as people were having their cocktails, they got to see his beautiful sculpture. So here I am on my residency, and I'm doing just about the same thing. I'm showing my work. This is called Generous Earth. And so there she sits. I modeled her in clay, and then I made a two-piece waist mold, and I really sanded the inside of that mold to get the forms to be as rich as they are. And so she is offering the generosity of who she is, Earth. As we keep going, and as you know by now, I love hands, and so we're moving on to this, which is wood. So the hands are below the surface, they're carved deeply in the wood, and the hands never connect. And I left the cuts from the saw, and I went into the wood and caught the two hands. I did a whole series called the COVID Memorial Series, and in each one, the project with the sculpture is carved below the surface. But you can see that it still has dimension to it. But anyway, so Rebecca asked me if I would bring a few pieces up, and I said, sure. So of course I packed the car, and she was okay with that, and I brought 9 pieces, and one of them is this one here, and it's called Mother. When Russia invaded Ukraine and started bombing the maternity hospitals, that just, I'm not going to recover from that. But so what I did is I created this sculpture. I carved this cherry. The natural lean feels like the smack that these women must have felt during that impact, and losing your child and probably yourself, and so there's a lot of pain in this, and so I wanted to record that for all of history. I have this thing about birds, as I mentioned, and so the figures are looking down on this pile of birds. They even look bird-like. So it's really up to the viewer what they want to make of this. You know, I mean, for me, it's environmental. Well, this little bronze is entitled The Listener. I did a whole series of The Listener. She actually was modeled from life. I had a model pose for this. If you can take a closer look, you can see that she's standing on an ear and that she's listening. This is terracotta, so I modeled it in clay and fired it. And the name of this piece is called Her Power. It was a figure class, and so they needed to do a standing figure, and it's not easy to do that in terracotta. So, because what is it? It's mud and likes to fall. So what I had them do is get a block of clay and you carve the figure in the block of clay. And why I brought this is because the model herself really was very beautiful and so young and so full of life and herself. I mean, she really had this wonderful attitude, the way she thrust her head and the way she projected her being. It was just lovely. And for me, the most important thing is to get the gesture and what the model really wants to portray. Here she is, her power. This is called Persephone Stirs. She was brought into the underworld and had to be there all winter, and then in springtime she comes up. And that's my favorite time of year, when the hint of life begins. And so here she is stirring in her sleep, ready to come up and join her mother. Diameter again. This is also cherry, but this is Brazilian cherry. Brazilian cherry is just richer and has, the color is just to die for. So this is called Venus Rising. From that, I loved the idea of Venus and her attendants. And what inspired me to do this was the Ludovici throne in Rome, Italy. It's a high relief of Venus being attended by the two women that help her lift her out of the ocean from which she's born. Now, in this case, because it's Venus, I needed to make her as sensuous as possible. And the way you do that is you laboriously sand this thing until your hands fall off, but it certainly is worth it. In this evening light, and as my residency is ending, I will come away with love, because I loved being here. I loved the people that were here. I got to do 2 artist talks, and they asked me a million questions, and I got to really speak my voice. Everyone was so willing and wanting to help me make my statement be known and love the figure as I do and its ways of reaching out to people.